lovely people. Welcome to the Fabulous Health Show. Do you know there's one question I get asked pretty much any time I tell people I'm a whole foods plant-based nutritionist, and that is, where do you get your protein? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So my name's Terry Crispin. I'm a whole foods plant-based nutritionist, and this podcast is all about helping you obtain optimal health so that you can live a long, happy life and age with grace and vitality. This podcast goes live every day at 10 a.m. US Central Time on this Facebook page and also on this YouTube channel, Fabulous Health. Afterwards, I load it to all your favorite podcast platforms, and you can find out where they are on fabuloushealth.net and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all my people for subscribing. So let's talk about protein. Protein is in most natural foods. Most people think of protein as meat, but plant foods are absolutely chock-a-block with protein. Think about elephants, horses, cows, gorillas. How do you think they get their protein? They don't go off and eat other elephants, horses, cows, and gorillas. They eat plants. So let me tell you a little bit of science about protein. Protein is made from amino acids, and there are 20 amino acids, 11 that your body can produce, and 9 that you need from your food. And these amino acids are called essential amino acids. And a lot of people who advocate a meat-based diet say you can't get a full protein complement because your plants don't contain all those essential 9 amino acids. But the fact of the matter is all plants contain some of the amino acids, and if you eat a wide variety of plants, you're getting them all anyway, even on the same day. And I'm going to get to that a little bit later in this podcast. Oh, but before I do, I wanted to tell you something. I got this brand new t-shirt. Check it out. It says, "Eat plants, be fabulous." If you're not watching the video and you're listening to the podcast, it says, "Eat plants, be fabulous," and you can get that on Fabulous Health as well. Okay, so the human body contains about 30,000 different proteins, and we only really study about 3,000 of them. So there's tons of stuff going on in the body that scientists don't even know what's happening. So what do proteins do? Well, they're good for growth and repair of tissues, which is why people think they need them for muscle growth, which is true. But that's not all they do. Proteins are enzymes, enzymes are proteins. Enzymes are made of proteins, and enzymes are catalysts for chemical reactions in your body. They help you digest your food. They actually basically hold the hand of other compounds in your body and help them do other things. Enzymes are used in all the chemical reactions in our body. So hormones are also made of proteins. Proteins regulate fluid balance. Proteins are transporters. They carry nutrients around the body. Proteins are also antibodies to defend against disease. And proteins are used in blood clotting and scar tissue formation. So there's so many things that proteins do. Now, proteins can be used as energy when there is no glucose. Do you remember yesterday I talked about glucose being used as energy? But proteins are only used as energy at the expense of cannibalizing your muscles. So when people say, I don't want to eat carbs because I'll get fat, instead I'll eat this keto diet full of meat because it's full of protein, well, that's not helping you in many, many ways. And that's another podcast. I will get to the keto podcast. Don't you worry. It's going to happen. But you don't want to cannibalize your own muscles. What you want to do is you want to fuel them with glucose. But that's another story. So let's talk about how much protein we actually need. Well, what we need is to be in what we call nitrogen balance. And this means that the amount of protein synthesis equals the amount of protein that is degraded. So what I mean is you eat the protein, and then that's broken down into the individual amino acids. And then those amino acids, like little Lego blocks, they form different proteins, and off they go through the body and do their fantastic job. But at the same time, every millisecond, your body's breaking down proteins, recycling them, doing other things with them, making muscle tissue, making hormones, making enzymes. So that's what's happening as well. So the amount we eat has to balance the amount of nitrogen that we excrete in our urine. So if we eat too much protein, our nitrogen status is positive. And unless we are a growing child or a pregnant woman, where this is really desirable because you need those proteins for growth, the excess protein is excreted and processed through the liver and the kidneys, and this puts stress on these organs. So you don't want to eat too much protein. Plus, the body creates excess urea, which can lead to dehydration as the kidneys excrete that in the urine. And if those of you have older male, particularly male relatives who get gout, that's an excess buildup of urea in the tissues, and that's really painful. And that can be alleviated by lessening the amount of protein that you eat. So the recommended intake of protein is 0.84 grams per kilogram of body weight for males and 0.75 grams per kilogram of body weight for females. But that's for people at a normal, healthy weight. If you're a 150-pound female, that's about 47 grams of protein per day. But if you're at the same height and you weigh 300 pounds, unless you are full of muscles, you don't need to increase your protein intake to for that amount of fat that you're carrying, because the fat is not as metabolic, so you don't need that extra protein. 10% protein is sufficient for you unless you're an athlete, and then you probably need more because you're breaking down those muscle tissues all the time. So everybody wants to know, where do you get your protein if you're not eating meat? Well, everywhere. Let me tell you, I'm going to give you just some ideas about where you can get your protein. So let's start with whole grains. Now, one serving size of whole grains is half a cup. Most of us eat more than that, but let's just say it's half a cup. Half a cup of oats, 5.3 grams of protein. Half a cup of quinoa, 4.1 grams of protein. Half a cup of brown rice, 2.3 grams of protein. And half a cup of whole wheat pasta, 4.8 grams of protein. What about legumes? Beans are chock full of protein. Kidney beans, pinto beans, white beans, navy beans, 15 grams of protein per cup. Lentils, 18 grams. Soybeans, 31 grams of protein. And tofu, about 10 grams per 100 grams. Let's look at veggies. I love telling people that broccoli has just as much protein as steak, calorie for calorie. What? Are you serious? Yes. 2.4 grams of protein per 100 grams in broccoli. That's about 35 calories. If you ate 35 calories of steak, it'd be about 2.6 grams of protein. So go figure, eat more broccoli. Green peas have 8.6 grams of protein per cup. Potatoes, about 4.5 grams per medium potato. Even fruit has protein. Bananas, 1.3 grams per banana. Mangoes, about 3 grams per mango. And apricots, about 1 gram per 100 grams, about the same as a banana. Now, the thing about protein is you can't have too much, as I mentioned before, because it puts stress on your organs, but you also don't want to have tons at one time. Your body really likes you to drip feed the protein. It likes a little bit of protein throughout the day so that it can break it down to amino acids, make it into new things, break it down, make it into new things. It doesn't want a huge bunch of protein all at once. And in fact, it only can process about 30 grams of protein at a time. And then the rest, it's through your liver, it's through your kidneys, it's out in your wee, and then it's a waste anyway. So it's best to eat it throughout the day like you do on a whole foods plant-based diet. Each of the things in your meals has little bits of protein, and they all add up. So we talked about in the beginning the complete protein. Oh, meat's got all the 20 amino acids. You don't need to eat anything else. You can get all your amino acids from plants. And there used to be this thing called food combining, where you ate, say, beans and rice together, because the beans had some of the amino acids and the rice had the others, and together they made the 20 amino acids. You got all the essential ones and the non-essential ones together. But dude, you don't need to do that. If you eat a wide variety of different plant foods, you'll get those 20 essential amino acids. Where's my tongue? You get those 20 amino acids, the essential ones and the ones we can make ourselves, all throughout the day. So you don't need to do that. You don't need food combining. You just need to eat healthy food. So just to reiterate, where do vegans get their protein? They get their protein from everything they eat. So there's no need to be harming yourself with meat and animal products that are bad for you and bad for the environment. So I hope that clears up that myth for you. If you have any comments or any questions, please ask them on the YouTube. Thank you, Misty, for joining me today live on YouTube. I appreciate you watching live. It's been fantastic to see you there. And if you want any more information about how to live on a whole foods plant-based diet, please go and visit me at fabuloushealth.net. Subscribe to the podcast. I'm going to load it right now. And then if you want to take your health to the next level, head over and check out my online course. It's called The Quick Road to Fabulous Weight Loss. And if you use the code podcast, I'll give you 50% off. How's that for a great deal? Anyway, tomorrow we are talking about omega-3 fatty acids. I hope you'll join me then. And I hope you guys will have a fabulous day. See you later.